Hello and welcome to the fun-filled nonsense retrospective. I'm your host as always, Rick. Joining me equally as always is Devon.
Good morning, good evening, good night.
Yeah, and all that Truman Show goodness. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a Desert Island Discs format. But before we get too far into any of that, let's go with our good old time-honored tradition of the nonsense, asinine hypotheticals. And what have you got for me today?
Rick, it's simple. What is your favourite earworm?
My favourite earworm? Oh boy. Some shit that gets on your nerves and won't leave.
Yeah, but you kind of like it, so you're not that mad. So, by favourite, I mean, like, earworms. Earworms aren't always bad. Usually the bad part of it is when it won't go the fuck away, as opposed to what it actually is. At least that's how I find it.
Yeah. Quite often, when something is starting to go wrong, I'll start playing the Ultra Instinct theme in my head.
Ultra Instinct?
Yeah, it's from Dragon Ball Super.
Okay.
And it starts with a scare chord. And, you know, that's a very good thing to start playing in your head when things are going badly. And then it keeps on going. But as all earworms go, I rarely get to the end, and that's the problem with earworms. If you get to the end, they normally go away.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a bit of a weird one, but yeah, it's like duh, 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 duh. It's just there to get my heart rate up.
That sounds like generic anime piece of music number 3.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's the first thing that I thought of, because I'm not picking. I've got a song that'll get on your nerves. But yes, what's your favourite earworm?
My favourite earworm is Sandstorm by Darude, because after like the third loop, I always think of Aaron.
Oh, yeah. When he tries to play it on Siri, but then he does it a cappella instead.
And like, as much as I really fucking hate it after like the third loop, I still fucking laugh because I'm thinking of those animated bits of just like you're at a wedding and then you just go, "Hey, what's that song?" And they always fucking draw his lips so over dramatically. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, my favourite one of those animations is when he's got the extendo neck and on every do, the neck extends and then goes back in time for the next do.
Yeah, like a fucking accordion.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why it's my favourite earworm, as much as you can have a favourite earworm. But let's not talk about earworms any longer. Rick, what's your question?
My question for you is, we're doing Desert Island Discs today, and one of the things you can get is an item. What would be the most OP item if it weren't for the obvious caveats of, having to be powered or, needing access to the internet?
Yeah, because that's one of the things for Desert Island Discs, isn't it? It's like they very explicitly say your luxury item can't be used to, 1, help you escape the island, or 2, contact the outside world. So you're basically asking me, what would you choose if those limitations were gone, yeah?
Yeah.
A boat.
Sure.
Speedboat, fuck it, let's be luxurious.
Speedboat, yeah, sure, okay.
Because again, it's one of those weird ones where you've always got those people who try to game the system even when they're doing the limitations. I remember fucking Ricky Gervais is always like, I want a big old vat of Novocaine so I can just numb if I have a toothache, and it's just like, it's not a real question, bro. Like,
yeah.
You don't have to take it so fucking seriously. But anyway, same question, names of list.
Mine was basically because you can't pick the internet. The internet, but specifically I'm going with a laptop with Wikipedia downloaded onto it in case you couldn't have a connection. That's estimated without images to be about 22 gigs, so it's a bit more doable than you think.
The whole of Wikipedia is 22 gigs if you take out the images.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. As soon as I repeated the take out the images part, I'm like, oh yeah, because it is just words, and like you can write 1,000 words, and that's not even a fucking kilobyte.
All
right,
it's more than a kilobyte,
999 letters then. Fucking stop being pedantic, you bastard.
Yeah. Bytes, obviously one character, but so yeah, it's actually a reasonable amount of data. There's 22 gigs, but you can fit that on a phone easy these days. So yeah, I'd say probably a laptop with that downloaded onto it, so you could make your own notes on whatever else you need to do. And I guess obviously an infinite battery on that. But yes, we're doing Desert Island Disc. We're going to do our top 8, our book, and our luxury. And the caveat to the books are you all get the complete works of Shakespeare and your religious text of choice.
Yeah, so the religious text is a bit interesting because it does specify... It actually used to just be Bible, and then they realised, shit, not everyone's a Christian.
Yeah.
So it went to Bible or appropriate religious text or appropriate philosophical work. Because then they realised, oh shit, not everyone's religious at all.
Yeah. Yeah, Bible if you so choose, but you can't just say, oh, I'm a Jedi, I think.
Okay, what book would you have if you're a Jedi, Rick? There is no tome for that.
Yeah. It's just
I want a USB stick with Wikipedia on it.
Wikipedia. Yeah, I do love how Wikipedia is still... It's still one of the best jokes out there, is just Wikipedia.
Well, what is it like? The big old joke about like fan Wikipedias and the proper dedicated ones, not the one that just fucking spring up on. One guy was like, "Oh, I wrote this Wikipedia," and it's just the main character's name over and over.
Yeah,
you've got two types. You've got the ones that are strictly serious and treat themselves like a real wiki, and the other ones that are stupid but in a fun way.
Yeah. Like the ones that are stupid in a fun way tend to be the ones that are the most entertaining, like your Simpsonspedia and Wikipedia.
Oh, Wikipedia is not stupid though. They try and be very strict with it. The reason why your Wikipedia is stupid isn't because they're maintaining the website dumb. It's because Star Wars is stupid.
Oh, yes. They're trying to be as factual as possible about it.
Which is very hard when the people who buy the franchise go, okay, all this shit, it's not canon no more.
Yeah. So they've got a tag in there for legends. Shit that happened before Disney bought it and haven't been acknowledged by Disney and therefore don't exist yet.
Give it a minute, we'll get Dash Rendar on the big screen.
Yeah. So yes, should we do discs and then book, then luxury?
It's your show.
Yeah, alright. So what's going to be your first disc? Or for me, it's going to be my number 8.
Yeah, so Rick's ranked his. I've just picked 8 songs because of the formula.
Sure.
We batted a bit of behind the scenes just before we started recording. We literally had like a 5-minute long discussion of what the fuck, how are we organising this? And we disagreed, and then we came to an agreement.
Sure.
But yes, in no particular order, the first song I've got written down is Heaven Can Wait by Meatloaf.
Okay. Yeah, good little bit of Meatloaf.
I like Meatloaf quite a bit.
Yeah.
I was very sad when he passed away. When I was young, my mum had a CD that was it was in one of the Sacred 6 slots.
Ah, yes, the Sacred 6. If you mess with it, some of them might get chewed up.
Yeah. And like, we had the one that was like in the back.
In the boot?
So you had to put the 5 other discs in that before you went on a trip. So
Yeah. I think trips was the only time we messed with that.
I mean, it would have to be, but it's like one of those where, it feels like so long ago, doesn't it? When you didn't just have, here's my magical device I have in my pocket. It has 700 albums on it.
Yeah, the fact that an iPod was like £200-300 and people were happy to pay it.
Goddamn.
Man, yeah.
But yeah, she had a CD called, it was called Heaven and Hell, and it was half Meatloaf tracks and half Bonnie Tyler tracks.
Okay.
So yeah, that album was listened to many a time, and Heaven Can Wait is a nice slow song, very piano focused, very, I wouldn't say it's different to his other songs because it's like Meatloaf songs always have piano in anyway, but it's very soft and it's not rock and roll, shall we say.
Yeah, totally. I get you.
But you know, it's all about the singer saying like heaven can wait because I found heaven on earth, basically, is the crux of the song. It's very nice, and like Meatloaf really shows off that he can just sing as opposed to belting out a rock tune.
Yeah. That's always a nice thing to like learn about a shout singer, as it were.
I wouldn't call Meatloaf a shout singer, but then again, I'm thinking about it, and almost all of his songs involve a bit of shouting because that's part of the rock and roll lifestyle, baby. And yeah. So when I was making this list as well, I was trying to not stay away from, but steer the song selections to more lighter things because obviously I'm a bit of a heavy metal guy, and
totally.
I could very much imagine getting very sick of having non-stop heavy metal, and that's all to listen to. So I guess some people out there who are listening might go, well, you don't like fucking heavy metal then, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, like looking at my list, I've got 2 things that are very definitely metal, but they're opposite sides of the metal coin, as it were.
Sure. But yeah, Heaven Can Wait, it got played a lot when I was younger. It's a nice soft track. Obviously, we are 1, not a radio station, and 2, super subject to copyright, so we won't be playing clips of the songs. But you're on YouTube or the podcast site if you're listening to this, so chances are you can just tab over to Spotify or open another YouTube tab, type in Heaven Can Wait by Meatloaf. It's a good song. You won't regret it.
Yeah, unless you are in our walls right now at time of recording, you are listening to this on a device. So use your device if you want to.
So yes, Rick, what's your first pick, as it were, for your Desert Island Discs?
My first one is very definitely the most obscure one that I've got on my entire list, and it's Downstream from the Braid OST. Now, Braid is a very kind of unknown game, but this is the opening track for the first world. It's in the background, and it's just an incredibly mellow track. And this is kind of one of my personal earworms that just kind of pops up. And I think this kind of... it's something that I come back to even though I never completed the game.
Okay.
Braid is basically Mario with time mechanics. And as things progress, you get more and different time mechanics, but like the current one is like time moves when you do in the first bit. But the one thing that is constant is that the music is always like good, and this one is just like this classical background track that you can very easily see as being a like relaxing classical piece that it's got enough to it. In like the different phrases that you can just like have it on and not get bored of it, or at least I hope. So then, I really do hope.
I then have to ask the question: so why did you add it onto your list? When did you listen to this for the first time? Why has it impacted you so much?
It impacted me quite a bit because like I got it. I first heard it during the Xbox 360 period, and it was from essentially the first game that I bought that wasn't on a disc. Like the first thing I bought that was on like the live arcade, and I was like, oh man, people who aren't making traditional media can still make incredibly good basically parts of that media, which on their own stand alone as like pieces of music, pieces of art, things like that.
I get you, man. I mean, my first exposure to that personally was Donkey Kong, but you know, I get you, man. Video games can affect people. I don't think I don't know where I was going to go with that, truth be told. Looking up at the history of Desert Island Discs, for a long time the most requested song was Ode to Joy, which has no lyrics. It's a very classical musical piece, and I think a lot of people, and I don't know if you'll agree with me on this or not, Rick, but I think a lot of people who disparage video games as not artistic and not having no merit apart from wasting your time, I don't think they can appreciate the amount of effort and what I think is legitimate art that goes into the individual pieces in building a game. Like, how bad do you think certain games you've played would have been if the soundtrack was shit?
I was playing FF14 last night. Without the music, it's just you press your 1, 2, 3s and you don't even look at the screen.
Even with the music, I don't find that game particularly fun. But fair enough.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's not in any way exciting without the music. But yeah, this is one that's very definitely a background track of being on an island to some degree. So yeah, what's going to be your number 7 or your second one?
My second choice for Desert Island Discs is My Fault by Eminem.
Okay.
So this is a bit of an older song, back when Eminem was, I wouldn't say wackier, but his songs definitely had a different feel to them.
Yeah, he had to put himself out there because he was still establishing himself, you know?
Oh, he was firmly established by the time this song came out.
Okay.
Like, this was like his third album. This was like the Marshall Matters LP, I want to say is what it was called. But the reason why I'm picking it is because, to my knowledge, the best of my recollection, it's the first song I ever listened to and appreciated because it told a story.
Right, and I know you're a little bit like Carl Pilkington that way, and you like songs that tell
please
a
don't
story.
Compare me to Carl Pilkington, because Carl Pilkington says that, and then he says The Killing of Georgie is his favourite song because it tells a story, while completely missing the point of the fucking story.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, well, he was gay, wasn't he? So if he wasn't gay, he wouldn't have stayed out so late, so he might not have got killed. And it's like, that's not what happened in the song.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress.
Like specifically.
But he even in the particular incident, he left early.
Yeah. He left earlier than he normally does. and ran into the ne'er-do-wells.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, but yeah, My Fault is a song that is essentially, I can't remember the entire chorus, but it's, I never meant to give you mushrooms, girl, I never meant to bring you to my world. And the entire song is sung from the point of view of the main character, who met a girl, gave her drugs, she was not prepared for drugs, and she ends up passing away. And at the end of the song is Eminem in a very over-the-top, exaggerated, crying, sad voice, "Oh, please wake up," which kind of takes a lot of the levity away from the situation, but I feel like the song needs to not be taken too seriously, otherwise it's a fucking downer.
Yeah.
But yeah, the entire song is just this guy's frantic actions throughout a party trying to solve the problem of the fact that this girl he met is overdosing because he gave her too many drugs. I remember one of the lines is someone says, how many did you have? And it's like, I had 3, she had the other 22 and a half, and it's like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like this is an old song. Like I remember listening to this in like early 2000s. PS2 I was playing at the time. That's how long ago this was. Weirdly enough, I used to listen to this album because this was back in the day when I would buy fucking CDs because couldn't download shit.
Yeah, totally.
And I distinctly remember playing Alien vs Predator, the real-time strategy game on the PlayStation, while listening to this album, and you couldn't get more of a mix mash of genres. But yeah, My Fault, Eminem definitely gets my nod. I wanted to put at least one rap song on here, and of course it was going to be Eminem because, I don't know that many other rappers. I'm not really a fan of D12 or Dr. Dre. Not to say they don't make good music, it's just, it's not stuff I listen to regularly.
Yeah, like, I can think of, like, the rap that I like is almost all just Eminem stuff, and that's because it's funny.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I like a bit of 50 Cent, I like a bit of like Tupac and Snoop Dogg, but like these are all big names. It'd be weirder if I hadn't heard of them.
Yeah, totally.
But yes, what's your next entry into Desert Island Discs?
My next one is the first one with words, and the words are not English. It's Du Hast by Rammstein.
Ah, yes, a song based around the German language being silly.
Yeah. So we were learning German at the time, and we referred to this as the R9 song until you looked it up on the list, and the other thing that they say is also the title. But this was kind of like my awakening to metal in general, and I got it by it being a random track on the Matrix album, which didn't even show up in the movie.
Oh, like the same reason why I heard Nickelback for the first time.
Yeah. Like this entire thing of like having a movie album that has things that weren't in the movie, but it just like has the same general feel. That was a thing. Like it was a big thing around the late 90s, early noughties.
Well, they wanted those album sales, but they couldn't sell a CD with 3 songs on it.
Yeah. Like to their credit, a lot of those songs did actually show up in the movie. And like even some of them were just like OST only tracks, like the good old lobby scene music. But then you got like Dragula and which just doesn't show up either. But yeah, Du Hast being my metal awakening, I think is like a big deal for me as a person with my tastes and just enjoying the sound of metal, and it informs the way that I enjoy metal anyway, which is just like letting the feel wash over me rather than, paying a massive amount of attention to the lyrics, because when I was learning German, I didn't know all of the German. Like nowadays, I know that most of it means about staying upright while your wife is getting old and her fanny dies.
That isn't remotely what the song's about, but okay.
Yeah, it's will you stay upright inside her until the death of her vagina is the translation version.
Okay, they got it wrong, Rick. Like the whole pun is like Du means one thing, Du Hast means another, and then when you add Mish to it, it completely changes the sentence, and that's the joke.
Yeah. Du Hast Mish is you hate me, and when they did the English translation, they skipped it to they just skipped straight to you hate.
Oh, that's that. So butchered the song. Got it. Typical fucking British attitude to anything foreign.
No. This was Rammstein themselves singing their own translation.
That's even dumber.
Yeah.
Oh well, whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my pick. That's my number 7. So what's going to be your number 6?
Again, I've not numbered mine. These are just 6. These are just 8 songs I'm putting into the thing. Like, I know you've ranked yours. I haven't ranked mine because that's not the point of the show.
Sure.
Alrighty. My next pick is "The Boxer" by Simon and Garfunkel.
Okay, I've not heard this.
You've not heard
Unless
this?
I have.
It's one of their more popular songs, but it's one of those weird ones where it's one of the few songs in the world that the title of the song isn't just a line from the chorus.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I think they mentioned the word boxer once, and it's near the end of the song. But yeah, again, it's another song that tells a story. It's a pretty long one. It's someone moving to New York City and being like going to, like, again, this must be set in like the 20s, because it was just like I just turning up at building sites and saying, "Can I work for the day?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure," or "No, fuck off." And just finding it rough because he doesn't know anybody. He can't build connections because he's a nobody. He has no money. What money he does have, he spends on creature comforts like visiting the whorehouse. I'm not making that up. That's a line in the song.
Yeah.
And and at the end it's just like it doesn't matter how. I'm translating my own interpretation here. It's obviously other people might listen to this song and take different interpretations, but the very last chorus is making life seem like an analog to a boxer and a boxing match, and it's like doesn't matter how many. Literally the fucking Rocky speech from like Rocky 6, I think it was the 6th one, where it's like, doesn't matter how hard you get hit, doesn't matter how hard you get knocked down, you got to keep getting back up and keep going. You know?
Yeah, they've got to keep moving forward adage.
Exactly. A reason I put this on my list is twofold. One, again, it's a nice, slow and calm song, mostly. It's got some... but it's the Simon and Garfunkel method of just, it's an acoustic guitar, 2 dudes singing, and when there's a couple of harsh, like, drum at the end, just to signify, like, it sounds like someone's getting punched. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
So, it tells a story. It's all good. I listened to this song super late, well after the 7th breakup of Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh, yeah, because they just keep coming back.
Yeah. That was my joke. And, it's just, it was definitely a song that was shared with me from somebody else, and I can't remember who that person is. I think it might have even been my mum.
Yeah, totally.
So it's just like, it just kind of stuck with me a bit, and there's plenty of good Simon Garfunkel songs to choose from, or even just Bright Eyes from fucking Watership Down is pretty good, even though I can't remember which one sung that, but it was only one of them.
Yeah, I think it was Art Garfunkel, but yeah. Bright Eyes from Watership Down is like, it's one of those weird ones where some people think it's the weirdest part of Watership Down, and yeah, to a degree it kind of is, but yeah.
Oh, I think it's a beautiful.
Iconic.
I think it's a beautiful song when you're not listening to it while watching the movie.
Yeah, it's weird in that this song is about rabbits.
I mean, yeah, rabbits feel emotions, my friend. Anyway, Rick, what's your next pick?
My next one is also an OST. It's Windy from Conker's Bad Fur Day. This one is a very whimsical track. It's more like 1950s jazz, bossa nova style, like your live lounge kind of things. And it just brings me back to memories of humor, as it were. The rareware, like, mid-late 90s style of humor, like, really resonated with me as a pre-adult.
Yeah, so Conker's Bad Fur Day, or just Conker's, was an interesting game for many a reason. One, it was made by British people with a British sense of humour. And two, do you know the reason why it had such borderline adult / straight-up adult humour, Rick?
Well, because they tried to make it as a straight game of just, okay, here's cute Conker and he does cute things. And they went, nah, it's not going to sell. Here's South Park.
No, it's not quite true. What actually happened was they were developing it, they were going to make it, and they went, shit, this game's just fucking another Super Mario game, we need something to distinct it.
Yeah, because they'd already just made like Banjo-Kazooie.
That's just it, man. That's just it.
Yeah.
Like, it was literally just so it needs something going for it. And I believe Nintendo were very hesitant to pull the trigger on it.
Oh, Nintendo didn't want the swearing at all. Like, they didn't want a Nintendo 64 game with an 18 rating on it.
which I believe it skirted an 18, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it was like this was before you had to have the movie numbers on, but people put the movie numbers on as a courtesy. Nowadays, you've got the no children under 17 tags, like the mature tag and what have you. So yeah, I think they generally picked a tag from a different country. So NC under 17 was and no children under 17, which didn't mean 18. Which meant that it wasn't really kind of legally binding in shops, so anyone could just buy it anyway.
But it's also a very weird time period where video games were not seen as a thing that adults could enjoy. It was very much geared towards children, and, I wouldn't say it was unheard of, because of course there was more mature themes and more mature games out there before Conker, but, it was very much few and far between. Like, it would have been like, what? This would have predated the first GTA, possibly. And granted, the first GTA was not vulgar, it was just, quote-unquote, violent.
Yeah, I mean, they had prostitutes, but, like, because it was top-down, like, it was of limited use.
Anyone who can jack off to a fucking 3D animated loop of your main character in GTA fucking a prostitute, more power to you. Yeah, man, it wasn't even that. It was just like top-down shit. Yeah, no, I understand that. I was using the modern day equivalent, Rick.
Yeah.
I'm saying if you're out there fucking fiddling with your Todger while watching fucking Franklin bang a prostitute, good for you, I guess. You have the internet.
The good old hot coffee mod.
That blows my mind to this day.
Yeah, that they had to reclassify the age rating of the game based on something that had been dummied out and you couldn't access without mod.
But like even with the hot mod, even if the original thing was it was fully clothed, it was just a stupid minigame they threw in because they were dumb British developers.
Yeah.
It wasn't granted, children shouldn't have been playing it. It was enough to warrant that, but it was already a fucking 18.
Yeah.
Jeez. Do they not know the type of things you can get in visual novels from the Japan?
Apparently not.
But yeah, for Windy something, Conker. Yeah,
Windy from that. And yeah, it just reminds me of whimsical times. And it's I think it's like my answer to having the downstream bit, because this is a lot more upbeat. And because if I'm going to have a essentially background music for me being stuck on an island, I'm going to want an uplifting one.
But again, it's not background music. These are meant to be discs that you purposefully play at certain times because you feel like listening to the song.
Yeah, fair enough. And yeah, this one is in my, essentially on my iPod. So yeah, I do quite often want to go back and listen to this. But yes, what's going to be our next one?
My next one is The Show Must Go On by Queen.
Ah, yes, this is a good one.
Yeah, it's a good song. It's very uplifting. The story behind it is obviously quite depressing. It's the last song Freddie Mercury sang. The song goes that he was brought the lyrics by Brian May, and they're like, "You sure you want to do this today?" And Freddie shot back a shot of vodka and went, "Let's do this, darling," and then did it in one take.
Yeah, it's a very Freddie way of doing it.
Yeah, it's also the story that gets toted around. Could be complete bollocks. Who knows? I choose to believe it. It's a good song. It's a very nice song. It's made all the more touching by the fact that Freddie Mercury knew he was dying while he sung it, and it's very much an ode to this might be the end, but time keeps marching on, as it were. Like, things must go on. Things aren't always going to be doom and gloom just because of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, the reason I picked it is because I had to pick a Queen song, because Queen are just fantastic. Queen was another, their greatest hits album was one of the Chosen Six, and, we always listen to it. This song, weirdly, wasn't on that album, or at least not on the disc we had locked in, because that set was like 4 discs on its own, and we only had the 1 disc in.
Yeah, a bit of a spoiler, Queen's also showing up on my list.
Yeah, fair enough, man.
Yeah, shock horror.
Need something to break up the fucking OSTs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I chose this one because I feel like it's one that's often not appreciated as much as the others, because obviously Queen have got a lot of just generally good songs, not to mention the fact that they've got 3 out of the all-time greatest sporting anthems.
Yeah, like We Are the Champions, Another One Bites the Dust, and what else?
Oh, that probably didn't come off a mic. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh yeah, that's another one. That's another one bites the dust, isn't it?
No, We Will Rock You.
Oh, it's We Will Rock You, man.
You already said another one bites the dust.
Yeah. I was thinking of da 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 as another one bites the dust. Da da da. Another one bites the dust. Yeah.
Completely wrong fucking beat. Fucking well done, my friend. Yeah. Anyway, another one that bites the dust. Obviously made famous by Gladiators.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good song. I wanted to pick an underappreciated one. I think the paintings that are... I did that the wrong around. The pictures that are painted with the words in this song are fantastic. Like, I remember one line that always sticks in my mind, because I think it's just after or just before the guitar solo of, like, I will fly on the wings of a butterfly or something. I'm butchering it horribly, but it's very nice. It's a very sweet song, very sad, somber song, and sometimes you need that.
Yeah. If you could be happy all the time, then, like, happiness wouldn't even be a thing.
Well, no, I'd want to be happy all the time. Anyway, Rick, what about you? What's your next pick?
My next one is Welcome to Jurassic Park. It's a dinosaur. Yeah, that one. Jurassic Park was the first ever movie that I watched twice in cinemas, because it was, like, essentially the dawn of consciousness as a... Not so much as a kid, but, like, when you're a kid moving into, like, making your own choices and making your actual requests that are not just I want to watch something on the video again. Jurassic Park was a massive, like, thing in my life as a kid, because it was the transition from Thomas the Tank Engine to dinosaurs.
And this was before dinosaurs were ruined, because as we learned, they are just giant, stupid chickens.
Oh, yes. We didn't know that back then. Also, dinosaurs were not in vogue until Jurassic Park. People vaguely knew about them, but, like, they were just a thing that existed in the world until they were, brought to the forefront by, okay, here's a movie with dinosaurs in it.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you, because one, I don't know, and two, that sounds believable enough.
Yeah. I guess it'd be the same with, like, aliens and stuff like that before the Alien movie. Except, dinosaurs really existed. You can just go and get a dinosaur fossil. I
mean, I get what you're saying, but, like, I'd argue that aliens started being a thing literally after Roswell.
Sure. But yes, this one is, like, probably the most iconic piece of Jurassic Park music, and it's another, masterpiece and masterstroke from John Williams, and he's going to show up again, but only once.
Yeah, so fun fact, I really like music boxes. I wouldn't say I collect them, but I kind of do. And for my birthday just gone, my brother gave me a Jurassic Park music box. And they cost a $5, but he just went, let's listen to it. And I started playing it, and we both pulled a face as we went, that's not the Jurassic Park theme. And I looked at the metal thing, and I went, oh, this is already, like, halfway through the fucking song. So I just fucking sped through it, and then we really did it again, and they went da 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 da, but in little tinkles, and we both like, oh yeah, there we go, it is the right one.
yeah, with the plongs, plong 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 plong.
Again, sounds more like a bell, but fair enough.
Yeah. So yeah, what's going to be your next one?
My next one is Immortality, the Bee Gees and Celine Dion.
Okay, man, I didn't even know they collabed.
Barry Gibb writes a lot of music. He wrote this song specifically with Celine Dion in mind.
Oakley dokley.
Chances are, if you've listened to a pop song in the last 30 years, you've probably heard at least one Barry Gibb song, because he is that much of a songwriter. He was part of a concert not too long ago. I say not too long ago. It was like the Manchester one, when they were, like, put on a memorial concert and a commemorative concert for the people who died in the stadium bombing.
Sure, I get you.
And they were like, people were, like, disappointed because he wasn't singing Bee Gees songs and he was just doing covers, and actually, technically speaking, they weren't covers because he fucking wrote them. But yeah, this is a nice song. I've put this on my list because it was my dad's favourite song.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but it always made him upset and cry and think about his mum. And I didn't really get that. And then my dad died, and it's like, now I can't listen to this song because it makes me sad.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. There's not much for me to say about this. It's just a lovely song. Specifically, the one I'm thinking of was from the 1996 Bee Gees concert, where they brought Celine Dion in as a special guest just to sing this song with them, which, again, it's technically Celine Dion's song in the sense that it was written for her, with her in mind, and if you type in Immortality song, chances are you'll get Celine Dion and not Bee Gees, but they did sing one time they sung this song with her, and rightly so, and I think it's a marvellous version of the song. And honestly, of all the songs I've got on my list, I think this is the one people should give a listen to the most.
Yeah, man. The problem with Celine Dion is that most of the time I can just think of the Canadian episode of South Park where she's one of the main characters.
Sure, that's a you problem. What's your next song?
Yeah. My next one is Bring It In, Guys. This is the ending medley from Undertale. It's potentially a cheat, but I think it's unique enough from the Undertale soundtrack because it has unique takes on the component themes tied together with its own beat and feel. This is one of those where if I want to feel good, I'll come to something like this, and this has enough things to evoke memories of fun times in Undertale.
Well, Rick, let me just put a pin in this very quick. I see you're on a roll, but the question is, how long is the song?
I think it's about 8 minutes.
Which is fine, because if you said it was like 45 minutes, then yes, it's skirting the rules.
Oh yeah, it's not it's not the OST.
Yeah, if it's 8 minutes or less, and it is just a medley, then fine.
Yeah. And it very definitely has an end as well, as it just kind of wraps up eventually. And but yeah, this is the one that I pick as my Toby Fox representative. I had a couple of other thoughts, but this just trumps them all. Like, it might get trumped as we get more and more of of Deltarune. But because we haven't yet, we don't know.
Shit, man, we haven't even got Papyrus in fucking Deltarune yet.
No. Like, we've seen Sans, but not Papyrus.
They've been teasing Papyrus for so long.
Yeah. But then again, we're going to get like parts, definitely 3 and 4 together. Hopefully 3, 4, and 5 together.
Oh, who knows, man.
But yeah, that's when it becomes the full release. And if we were picking a game that hadn't come out to add to these, then that probably would be it. But we're not. So, but yeah, so what's going to be your next one?
My next one is Big Balls by AC/DC.
Big Balls, yeah.
I think this is a song I spoke to you about literally recently during a car ride.
Yeah, you did.
So when I was really young, like sub 10, before I had a console, there used to be a TV program that would play for about 3 hours every weekend. I forget the name of the show, but it just showed 5-minute long clips of various video games while playing varying different music, and one of the musical pieces was Big Balls by AC/DC. Now, obviously I was too young at the time to catch the innuendo, but as an adult I can really appreciate this song. It's funny, it's lighthearted. The basic crux of the song is they're talking about throwing balls, as in like charity balls and dancing balls, while also constantly using lines that specifically make it sound like they're talking about their actual balls.
Yes.
My favourite line of the entire song is some balls are held for charity and some for fancy dressed, but when they're held for pleasure, they're the balls that I like best.
Yeah.
It's so fucking funny. And honestly, like, I feel like I needed at least one outright obvious funny silly song for this list.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't have serious all the time.
And like near the tail end of the song, they start chanting Una Chaka, which I don't know what that means. I think it's just a New Zealand thing, probably. And while doing it, the main singer is just like, we have seafood cocktails, crabs.
Crab. Ooka chaka, ooka.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like that at all, Rick. But yeah, you need to listen to this song. It's fucking funny. It's great, and it's a short song too. I think it's like just over 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need a dash of silliness, definitely lightheartedness. And yeah, Rick, what's your next edition?
My next one is This is the Revenge of the Sith opening suite, but specifically the movie version, not the one from the OST.
How long?
I think this is. I think it's another one about 8 minutes or so. But basically, just the opening crawl and then the.
You don't get the opening crawl tacked on.
Yeah.
No. That's not part of the song. That's its own thing.
Okay.
You get the rest of it for sure, but you're not getting the fucking big old like you know how it goes.
But yeah, this is basically the Jedi / Force theme in the most dramatic way that it's ever been portrayed in the movies, and it really just makes me remember everything good about Star Wars. In that it's from, like, my favourite part of Revenge of the Sith is the first half, because it's the part that's the most like the films that come after it, with all the banter and whimsy. And that's the feel that they take forward into the Clone Wars period and cartoons and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just evocative of the best parts of post-original trilogy Star Wars, which, as people born after the 70s, is the first Star Wars that we got to appreciate for in real time.
I mean, yeah.
And yeah, this is my the last of my John Williams on this list.
Yeah, fair enough. I thought for sure I couldn't have told you which John Williams song it was going to be, but we knew it was going to be Star Wars.
Yep. I also did get the album before going to see the movie, because that was just something you could do back then.
And it spoiled the end of the film by having one of the tracks be Darth Vader's theme.
Oh yeah, like as if you knew that wasn't going to happen. But also, these are the kind of tracks where you'll have an entire track called Darth Vader's Death or something.
One of them's called The Death of Padmé.
Yeah, Death of Padme, yeah, just in case you didn't think that was going to happen. But yes, what's going to be your penultimate pick?
Yeah, my next pick is going to be Christmas Truce by Sabaton.
Yeah!
It's a very nice song. It's a very recent song. If it wasn't for their most recent album, it might even have been their most recent track, but it's not quite that. It's a song celebrating my favourite piece of history. And no, I don't mean World War II. I mean the magical event that was the Christmas Truce of 1914.
Yeah.
Where both German and Allied forces just went, fuck Christmas, let's not kill each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hymns were sung over the trenches. The troops went, fuck it, met in no man land. There's the infamous game of football. That's,
the game of football.
Played.
Yeah. And then they went back to killing each other the next day. But for Christmas itself, because
the Christmas truce actually lasted about a week. Like, it wasn't a one and done. In fact, when they went back to their trenches, for the most part, everyone was like, once you see the enemy as human, it's hard to think of them as the enemy, because like a day ago you were sharing drinks and playing football and singing songs, and now it's like, kill them. The troops didn't want to fight anymore, so obviously the officers were not very happy with this, and they banned any future ideas of a Christmas truce. But what you found was, at least for the months, a month or two after the actual Christmas truce, a lot of people, when they were shooting at each other from the trenches, were just not aiming at each other.
Yeah, just suppressive fire.
Not even suppressive, literally just purposefully missing, because it's just like, well, they're just people.
Yeah. Like you say, this is a really important part of history, in that it's essentially the last time you get a truce like this, like without an actual ceasefire.
I mean, yeah, like there's the infamous story of the fact that on the Eastern Front, the Germans tried to have the same thing happen for Easter with the Russians, but of course they both had two different calendars, so when the Germans stopped shooting and came out their trenches, the Russians were like, that's weird, and then shot them.
Yep.
Because, history's fun like that. But yeah, it's an important event. I think they memorialised the event quite well with this song. It's something I wouldn't mind remembering over and over again, and it's just a great beat. They mix a very classical Christmas carol-y sort of bass track to the otherwise heavy metal beat that you're used to for Sabaton.
Yeah, totally.
And it's got a great solo, but of course it does. So yeah, that's my penultimate pick. What is yours, Rick?
My penultimate pick is Bohemian Rhapsody. Just like you having Queen in the Forever 6 on the CD player, we had Queen in the Forever 1 on the tape player, which is what we used to have before CDs, except kind of not really, because what we did was recorded the CD onto a cassette, and we got all of Queen's Greatest Hits Volume 1 and most of Queen's Greatest Hits Volume 2 on one double-sided cassette.
Bullshit.
Because we this predated CD players in cars because they couldn't make it not jitter.
Oh yeah, because the roads in England are not smooth.
Oh, especially in Yorkshire. In fact, I think it was Sony that like started the no judder CD player by like loading something into an amount of memory so they could, play from memory rather than in real time.
God, man, you're making me remember the fact I used to walk around with a CD player in my pocket, and I thought that was groundbreaking. And because it was the size of a CD with basically an MP3 sized square in addition on the back, and that was your CD, your portable CD player.
Yeah, totally. Like, I remember when I got my first CD player, it was when they were going out of fashion, and one of my richer friends had gotten an iPod and didn't need the CD player anymore.
Here's a fun fact, Rick. I've never had an iPod. Not because, obviously nowadays I'm like, fuck Apple, but back in the day it was just like, this shit's expensive. Here's an MP3 player for a $5 in Argos that can hold 20 songs.
Yeah, like my MP3 players were a 64 megabyte Sony, which you had to personally cut down your track's quality to be able to fit more than 2 or 3 of them on.
Jesus, I'm sorry, I just remembered something I saw on the interwebs of someone tweeting, Zune was better than the iPod, fight me, and someone else just responded, so how does it feel being old?
Yep.
It's like, yeah, I don't remember the Zune, and I was definitely around for the Zune.
Yeah. It's one of the things I managed to convince my cousin to get one, and he loved it.
You're a bad cousin.
Yeah, I'm a bad cousin. Yeah, exactly. 100% that. I'm a bad cousin. Yeah, because I convinced him to get the thing that was worse than the real thing. However, on paper, it was a correct idea. In practice, yeah, one of these two has stood the test of time, and it's not the Microsoft one. But yes, Bohemian Rhapsody is basically, before I knew I liked rock music, I liked Queen.
And you pick one of the tracks from them that has rock in it, but is so not rock.
Oh yeah. Like Bohemian Rhapsody is it's a smorgasbord track. Yeah, it's a rock opera. Yeah. It's a smorgasbord of different styles and different parts of a disjointed story.
I wouldn't say it's disjointed. I'd say there's just a lot of time skips.
Oh, yes. And, there's so many different styles, so many different things happening, and sometimes you just want to rock out and bang your head like they do in Wayne's World.
Yeah, fun fact, that revitalized Queen's career in America, because
sweet.
Before that, America really didn't like Queen because they dressed up in drag once for a video.
Yes.
I'm not kidding. Yes. I Want to Break Free made America hate Queen because, them goddamn queers.
Oh, boy.
I'm not wrong. That's literally the reason. Look it up.
Yeah. But yes, what's going to be your final pick?
My final pick is Whiskey in the Jar by Thin Lizzy.
Yeah.
I like Thin Lizzy in general. I like Whiskey in the Jar. I don't think there's ever been a version of Whiskey in the Jar that I've not liked.
Yeah, I remember I was quite often when I can't be bothered putting my phone on the car radio and absolute classic rock, and the Metallica Whiskey in the Jar comes on, and I always bop to that as well.
Yeah, it's a good cover. I know a lot of people shit on Metallica for many reasons, but like them covering Whiskey in the Jar, it should not be one of them. It's a very good reimagining of that song in the Metallica style, and
it suits their feel really well.
And I say this a lot about cover songs in general. If you're covering someone else's song, if you're doing your best to sound like the person who originally sung it, then what's the fucking point? Do it in your style, because if nothing else, at least then we get to experience a new version of the song.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just a replica.
Yeah, like the most recent song where this happened, which I can point to, is probably Disturbed doing Sound of Silence, because it's just such a different feel and take on that piece.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. I like this song a lot. I like Thin Lizzy a lot. It was hard to actually pick a Thin Lizzy song, but then when I remembered Whiskey in the Jar, I was like, yeah, no, that song's always good. Fun fact, based on an old Irish Bandit song.
Okay.
So technically speaking, anyone can just do this song and they don't need to get permission because it's a public domain thing.
Sure. man. You just got me thinking about covers as well, and I think the most radical cover I think in my living memory is when Alien Ant Farm did
Smooth Criminal.
Smooth Criminal, yeah.
Yeah, that's on my MP3 player for two reasons. One, it's actually a really good version of the song, and two, I get to listen to a Michael Jackson song without having to listen to Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Double benefit.
Yeah, it's difficult to listen to Michael Jackson these days. It really is. But hey ho, diddly do. Hey, do you want to take a stab at this? What do you think the most covered song is? Because I know the answer 5 years ago.
Is it Hallelujah?
No, it was 5 years ago. It was All Along the Watchtower by Bob Dylan.
Okay.
That was the most covered song. I don't know if it still is. I haven't looked it up. Let's look it up. Apparently the most covered song, I take this with a pinch of salt because it's by Guinness World Records and they lie. Apparently it's Yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Which, isn't that a Beatles song?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Fair enough. I could have sworn it was All Along the Watchtower a couple of years ago, but even that information might be incorrect. But anyway, I'm getting real off topic. Thin Lizzy's Whiskey in a Jar. It's a good song, give it a listen. Again, it's another song that tells a story. And, I just really like Thin Lizzy. I believe their lead singer is another member of the 27 Club. So that's a bit tragic.
Yes. Yeah.
Phil Nynett, I want to say was his name. That sounds right. But yeah, there's no real rhyme or reason for me putting this on the list. Like, it doesn't resonate with me on a personal level, and it doesn't bring back any particular memories other than the fact that it's just a good song. It's easy to listen to, and it's just a good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Rick, what is your final Desert Island disc?
My last one is by Dragon Force. Fury of the Storm.
I'm not familiar with this one.
It's one that's got one of the most uplifting key shifts towards the end, and that's what makes me pick it over specifically things like Through Fire and Flames, which is a good song, but I really like this one. I just really like it. I don't want to get too down on things, but it's possible that at some point in the past, Dragon Force saved my life.
Well, you can't. You can't just say that. Be a bit more specific. Try and avoid anything too depressing. But
just during a depressing part of my life, uplifting metal was something that I could just have on in times gone sad, and the fact that you can have uplifting metal is a big deal. And until I encountered Dragon Force, I didn't know that you could.
It's weird though, isn't it? Because apart from like death metal and doom metal, like metal in general tends to be upbeat.
It's high energy.
Well, I don't even mean high energy. It's like you listen to the words of a lot of songs and they're not particularly downers. And I appreciate you've told me many a time before, you might not have said this on the podcast, you don't really listen to music and listen to the words of the songs, you just listen to the music. But
quite often, yeah. Like there's a reason that a lot of my list is OSTs and not things with words. And it's because the words are there, and they're there to sound like they sound, in my opinion.
Okay, you're wrong.
Oh, yeah, like, totally. People who write lyrics for the lyrics to be there. They write the lyrics for the lyrics to be enjoyed and to be, consumed, but for the most part, I find it difficult to follow words when they're not just being said.
So, fundamentally, guys, this is why we don't do music stuff on the podcast, because Rick and I fundamentally disagree on how to listen to music.
Yeah, like, I listen to the technical aspect, and, I'll, go, oh, that's an interesting way of progressing that. Oh, there's a key shift. And, that's not the way you're meant to encounter music. Yeah, I do music wrong.
Like, there's not much else to say, really. Like, that is literally just the crux of it.
Yeah, I do music wrong.
I'm not going to disagree with that statement because I think it's true.
Yeah. I do listen bad. But yes, this is the one in particular that I picked from Dragon Force. Yeah, there's maybe like 10, 12, 30, 100 tracks that I could have picked, but this is the one that I picked. And it's just evocative of a time in my life that I really needed uplifting power metal, and Dragon Force was there. But yes, we get into the next portion, the book, with, obviously, to repeat, the caveat of you have the complete works of Shakespeare and you have your religious text of choice. What's going to be your book?
Yeah, the complete works of Shakespeare is a really interesting one, because that's a lot of writing.
Yeah. It's a lot of things to keep yourself interested if you can get past the these and thous.
I mean, it's not that difficult.
Oh, it's not. You just have to get into the right mindset.
But yeah, my book is not going to come as a surprise to anyone who knows me, or at least has known me since, like, primary school. My book is Romance of the Three Kingdoms, unabridged by Luo Guangzhong, translated by Moss Roberts.
Sure.
I love this book. I read it in secondary school after realizing that Dynasty Warriors was based off of literature, and I was like, oh, that's cool, I want to read that, and I read it.
Yeah.
I've never actually read the unabridged version. I've only read the abridged version, because the abridged version is still 900 fucking pages.
Yeah.
And it's really funny, because near the tail end of the book is when less things are really happening, and Moss Roberts' notes are just like chapters 112 to 122. Zhuge Liang's campaign against the Nanman. He beats Meng Huo 7 times. And then it cuts to like the end of the story, and it's like, fucking what? So the Romance of the Three Kingdoms is a historical piece romanticized.
Yes.
So there's a lot of things that even with the historical, Luo Guangzhong did not live during the Three Kingdoms period, so even he is writing this collection way after the fact.
Oh yeah. It's like Bible logic.
It's not even Bible logic. You can even point to like the Roman Empire, because they did that shit too.
Yeah.
A lot of the historical texts we've got are already written by historians because they're also 100 years after the event when they're writing it down.
Yeah, written by historians who piece things together.
There's not much to say, really. I really like this book. It captivated me. There's a fuck ton of poems in it.
Yeah.
It almost feels Lord of the Ringsy, because Lord of the Rings just stops in random paragraphs to add a poem, because that's how Tolkien be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. I don't think this book is for everyone, but it's a book I read a long time ago. I used to read it once a year. I haven't read it in a long time, but I know it's good. Plus, if I get the unabridged version, which I imagine almost doubles the page length, page total, probably, then it'll also have just a shit ton of more information.
Yeah, totally, absolutely.
So yeah, with that all said and done, Rick, what book are you taking?
My book is Good Omens.
Hang on. Is that a series or is it just one book?
It is a single book.
Okay, cool.
This is the TV series is 2 seasons, and the first season is based on the book. Yeah. The book is actually rather shorter than I remember, in that it's like a pocketable paperback novel when you get the paperback version. But it's the perfect interplay of Gaiman and Pratchett.
I absolutely love the story of how those two ended up working together on this. Do you want to repeat it for people?
Yeah, that they used to send what had been written on a floppy disk via mail. That
isn't even the version I heard. It was Neil Gaiman was talking to a lot of his author friends saying, this is what the idea I've got. Does anyone want to collaborate? And I want to stress, I'm getting facts wrong, potentially, because I am remembering this from memory. And I believe how it went was after like talking to a bunch of people, Gaiman got back to his hotel room or got back home, and he got a phone call from Pratchett saying, hey, have you still got that book? And he's like, yeah, cool. I don't know how it begins, but I know how it ends.
Man, what a statement.
Yeah. And again, I might be getting that wrong, but it's a very easily Googleable fact.
Yeah. Sweet. I love that. But yes, it's a fantastic just experience. Like, at the time that I read it in my life, I hadn't read a lot of things recently that weren't either required by school or
Star Wars.
Me choosing to read Star Wars. So yeah, essentially, yeah, it's my one non-Star Wars pick that I'm definitely putting in my like top however many books of personal all time.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so yeah, I'm picking it. And also you get the benefit of, if I do pick the Bible, I can cross-reference the Bible and go, oh yeah, that's the Bildad the Shuhite section.
Well, like here's a fun one. Do you know what book Carl Pilkington said he'd take?
What'd he say? What'd he pick?
I still can't believe it, but he said, and I quote, the dictionary.
The dictionary? I mean, technically, it's got all the other books in it.
I believe that's the joke that was made as well. Carl Pilkington's rationale was if a ship came past the island, he wanted to make sure he said the right words in order to, get saved.
Sure.
Makes a really stupid kind of sense, which again sums up Carl Pilkington, but it's such a waste of a pick. Because again, it's not real, it's hypothetical, it's a bit of I wouldn't say it's a thought exercise, but it's a bit of fun,
Yeah, like an English to X dictionary when the nearest civilization is very definitely X.
Yeah, but
That's
it wasn't even...
not the worst pick, but like even then, like the caveat is normally you can't have the thing that helps you escape.
Yeah, but like, let's be honest, he picked the regular dictionary, it wasn't actually going to help.
Yeah, the dictionary. Because, ideally, you know English.
It's Carl Pilkington, so he knows Mank English.
Yeah, Manklish. Yeah. But yes, our final question, though. What do you pick as your luxury?
Yep, so just to repeat for everybody who's playing along at home, the luxury item for Desert Island Discs has the caveat of cannot be used to help you get off the island and cannot be used to communicate outside of the island.
Yeah.
So yeah, that being said, my luxury item is a bow and some arrows. And a quiver, hopefully, but I don't know if that's taking the piss.
Yeah, sure. Like, I would count that as one equipment slot.
Yeah, cool. So, I'd say about 10 arrows is fair.
Like, Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't make you track arrows, so neither do I.
But yeah, it's one of those where if you're stuck on a desert island and you've got nothing but time, you might as well learn a skill, and you might as well learn a skill that's fun. And I can do archery. I don't think I'm the best at it by any means. In fact, if you ask me to make a shot more than 30 feet away, chances are I'd probably miss.
Yeah.
Find a tree. There's a desert island. They've always got at least one palm tree, and just...
Yeah, because otherwise you would die.
Well, you'd still die if it's a palm tree, wouldn't you? Because,
Oh, yeah. Because it's not a coconut.
Yeah. If it has a coconut, even worse, because eat more than one coconut in a day and you'll shit yourself to death. And, not it's true.
That's a me problem.
But yeah, it's just like, you find something to shoot at on the island and just shoot for however many hours a day to while away the hours, learn a skill. And if I think it's both practical and fun.
Yeah, I get you.
So yeah, Rick,
I like that one. Yeah.
That brings us to you. What do you pick for your luxury?
Well, my first pick was a freezer, but I think that's a bit of a shit pick. So,
well, you don't get power, so you could have the freezer, but fuck all to go in it.
Yeah, it's not powered. Yeah, like I think the implication for the discs is that you get like a hand cranked gramophone, and all these show up on vinyl.
Yeah, that is essentially. I believe that is the original crux. You got to bear in mind when this show was invented, it was like 1955, so there wasn't that much electricity anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, that sounds fucking dumb, but you know what I mean, right?
Oh yeah. Like I think they even they made the point in like the early 20th century with Alice in Wonderland of not Alice in Wonderland, the Oz books like Return to Oz and all that. Like, oh, electricity must be the youngest of the spirits because it's been only recently invented. And they go, no, electricity's always been around. It's just you've only been recently able to harness it. So I'm going with an infinite writing pad and pen.
You know what? The funny thing is, Rick, is that was also going around in my mind because, with a writing pad and pen, you can chronicle your day. If you're creatively inclined, you could write, you could draw, you could make paper airplanes, you could try and learn origami. There's a lot you can do with a pen and paper. That's all I'm saying. And granted, I think saying infinite is probably stretching the rules a little bit, but I'm willing to allow it.
Yeah, like the fact that your pen can run out would be a big problem, and then the fact that your paper can run out would be a big problem, but like if you got enough of it, then like functionally infinite, not obviously infinite, but like functionally infinite.
Yeah, I get you. So to a degree.
And the worstest, shittiest case scenario, you can always use paper as toothpicks. Because if you can't have a toothbrush, then at least get the shit out of your teeth.
Yeah, but if you're on a desert island, you can put a bunch of salt water in your mouth and just swish it around. That'll get rid of a lot of gunk.
It would, actually, yeah.
It wouldn't taste very good, but it's probably better for you than using paper as a toothpick. And for fuck's sake, don't swallow it.
And don't think of why it's salty.
I mean, that's just to see.
Yeah. But yes, normally we pick one of our opponent's picks, but we talked about all of them as we went through them and how much we generally liked each other's things. So let's get into our usual wind down of if you liked the video, You've got the comment section down below on YouTube. And if you're listening via one of the many audio platforms, you can instead send us an email at
nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com.
Yeah! If you made it this far, as always, you're our favourite people. It's going to be a goodbye from me.
Bye, guys.